Welcome back to another episode of the Healthy with Heartland podcast. My name is Justin. I'm your host, joined today with your favorite creative directors, Simon and Shannon. Say hi, guys.
How's it going?
We have a very, very special guest today, Clif Brooks. Before I give him the proper intro, let's send it over for some announcements.
Let's do it. Welcome back, Heartland family. Another great week. We do have an awesome reorder special for you this month. If you're tuning in for June, it's our summer sausage grillers, so make sure to take advantage of that. Any 2 sausage grillers in our sausage grillers collection will come free along with your order, so make sure to take advantage of that. We do have a winner, which was announced this past Friday. Congratulations to Daniel Aluzzi and family. You were the winners of our Pitmaster giveaway. Congratulations. In terms of contests, we have another great contest going on this month. It's called the Hungry with Heartland contest. If you check out the Facebook page or the Cat and Lindsay, you can see it pinned to the top with all the instructions. So to learn how it works, take a photo of your meal, write a short description, use the hashtag Hungry with Heartland, post it on your profile on either Facebook or Instagram, and each post will count towards 1 entry. We'll do 3 winners and a grand prize winner at the end of the month, so make sure to check that out. If you're still interested in doing a summer pop-up or a summer Facebook party, definitely send us a message on Cat and Lindsay. And if you have not already, make sure to let us know what is for dinner by joining our Heartland Foodies group on Facebook. We'd love to see that. And with that, Justin, let's get into the episode.
All right, Heartland family, this is going to be an action-packed episode. The person we are going to be talking to today is someone I'm following closely on social media for daily knowledge bombs, so I'm sure this episode will be packed full of them. So it's time for you to meet the CEO and owner and founder at Clif Brooks Online, Fitness Coaching and Nutrition. He is also known as the Peak Performance Specialist. Welcome to the podcast, Clif Brooks. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Justin. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Again, watch your live videos all the time. I'm just wondering how in the world you deliver that amount of value on a daily basis. So to pack some of that in here, I guess let's just start with your story and how you got to be helping people transform their lives.
Well, my story, it's one of those that starts off bad and and it improves. Well, let's put it this way. I used to bartend, and for many years, 15 years, I was a bartender. And when I was bartending, I tell you this, man, I had a drinking problem. I used to drink 8 days a week, 25 hours a day with all my buddies, and it got me into trouble. Got into multiple DUIs before I turned 30 years old. And then I decided that I needed to make some changes in my life. I wasn't living healthy. My father passed away from a stroke. He was only 56 years old. The guy used to be an athlete. He played football in college, ran track, went to the military. He was a Special Forces Army Ranger. And when he got out of the military, he came home, got a job with the government, and was in the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, for 30 years. He sat at a desk, and his diet deteriorated. He ate Pizza Hut, Popeyes, Little Debbie snack cakes, and drank Pepsi all the time. And because of that, he ended up developing high blood pressure. He was about 25 pounds overweight. So when people say all the time, well, it's only 20 pounds, it's not that bad. My father died from a stroke. He had a stroke in his brainstem. And if you know anything about the human, their body, it was in his brainstem. Sorry, I get choked up when I talk about this, but all of your involuntary bodily functions are regulated through your brainstem. So your circulatory system, your respiratory system. So we went to see him in the hospital, and we watched him scribble a do not resuscitate order on a napkin because he couldn't talk, and he had a tube in his throat. 4 days later, at 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone rang. And in the middle of the night, when your phone rings, nothing good ever comes from it. And they told us that he passed away from a second catastrophic stroke. So he was a catalyst of me changing my life and going into health and fitness full time. I'd always been a personal trainer, but I was having so much fun bartending that I just wasn't focused on it. So after he passed away, I realized that I was looking around like, I got to stop living my life like this. It's not healthy. And then I went into fitness full time. And when I went into fitness full time, I've been able to, help thousands of people lose hundreds of thousands of pounds, change lives. And the main reason why I do this is because, thankfully for me, I was old enough to understand what happened to my dad and why he wasn't going to be coming home. But I have friends that I grew up with, where they're my age and they look like they're 10, 15, 20 years older than me because they haven't taken care of themselves. They have kids. Their kids are probably anywhere from newborns all the way to getting ready to go into college. So the younger kids, what are they going to think if mom and dad doesn't come home? They don't understand death. They're just going to think that mom doesn't like me anymore, or dad doesn't want to talk to me anymore, and they're not around. So the reason why I got into health and fitness was because I want to make sure that nobody else's family goes through the pain, the suffering, the heartache that my family went through. I mean, I'm named after my dad. So every time I hear my name, I think about him. I love him and I miss him, but at the same time, a part of me resents him because simple diet and exercise, he would still be here. He used to tell us, tomorrow I'm going to start eating better. Monday I'm going to start working out. Tomorrow never came, Monday never happened, and he's no longer here with us. So my whole goal is to make sure that all the children are going to be able to grow up and have their parents to talk to, be able to pick up the phone and call their mom, be able to pick up the phone and call their dad, because I can't reach out to my dad.
Wow.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's
how powerful.
super, super important and understandable why, for what you do. And I guess, what are some things, how do you make that shift when you speak to people and get them to try to shift their thinking into how important that these decisions really are for them?
Well, let me ask you a question. After hearing that story, did you guys feel moved about, wow, if I do have kids, or you have like a little brother, little sister, you're like, wow, how would they feel if mom or dad didn't come home? What would
Absolutely.
that result be like to them? So being able to, most people think that nothing bad is ever going to happen to me. I'm just 20 pounds overweight. I can lose the weight. And so what happens? You end up having to take medication. You end up with high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. But no one ever believes that the worst case scenario can happen to them. Well, I'm living proof that it can happen. And 20, 25 pounds is enough for you to change your life. You need to make those adjustments because it's not just you. There's other people in your life that are going to miss you, other people that you have a responsibility to. And if you're not here, what happens to them?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Because you think about, it's a daily sort of transition into eating right, exercising, and it's important to stay motivated. And I guess that's what you're telling people every day. Like, if you think about that every single day, if you think about, returning home to your family, living not only for yourself, but for your family, is that your piece of advice as far as like how you stay motivated on a daily basis, like consistently?
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I mean, like, you have to tie their reason for wanting to be in shape with something that's going to actually move them. Well, I want to lose weight so I can fit into these pants, or I want to lose weight so I can fit into this dress. Well, they've probably said that multiple times. Well, let me ask you this, sir. If what's going to happen, how are you going to feel if you don't lose that weight and your daughter has to dance with another man on her wedding day?
That gave me the chills.
Right.
It's
Wow.
not about selling somebody on changing the way that they live. It's about pointing out what simply could happen if they don't take the time, if they don't take their health seriously and realize that this is real. If you make a mistake, yes, you could come back from it, but there's a chance, as slight as it may be, there's always a chance that that could be it. So you have to make sure that you're living your life the best way that you can and setting yourself up so you have a healthy future. Because I work with a lot of busy entrepreneurs, executives, high performers. So I help them to feel better, look younger, make more money, and live a more productive and fulfilling life by helping them unlock all the limitless potential they have inside of them. Now, people don't hire me just to get expected results. They hire me so they can get unexpected results. So what I want them to understand is everyone's so busy. Think of it this way. You went to college, you got your first job, you worked overtime, you came in early, you climbed the corporate ladder, you met your spouse, you got married, you bought the house, had the kids. And who gets put on the back burner? We everyone always puts themselves on the back burner because they're doing what they know that they should do. They have responsibilities, they have a life, and now they need to put people ahead of them. But then what happens to them? They wake up 20 years, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. They look in the mirror and they don't recognize themselves because now they have a gut where they never had it before. Or they go to the doctor's office and they remember themselves as the high school or college athlete who now has to take medication for blood pressure or anything along those lines. And they just have put themselves on the back burner because they still think of themselves as that healthy athletic person. And now, because of that, life's different. So I have to teach them how to do things properly, restructure their life so they can still excel in everything that they've done and be able to live a healthy life and be there for their family and for their loved ones.
Wow.
It's huge. And so you talk about, working with, high level people that are looking to kind of make a change. I guess, like, what's the process of that entire thing? Like, how do they find you? How do they reach out to you? And then what do they go through in their, through this process working with you?
Well, we go through, the way that they find us is through social media. I do a lot of social media, like Justin was saying. I do videos every single day. I provide an exceptional amount of value to people because I want them to, when they actually speak to me, I want them to believe that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm a credible source, that I am reliable, and that I actually know how to help them. So we do a lot of social media marketing. There you go. And with that, people come to me. I get a lot of referrals through business. I was a personal trainer in the area for 20 years in gyms, and I decided I wanted to work for myself. And then because of that, I just have a great reputation because of all the people that I've helped as well. So once we do that, we have a consultation and they tell me exactly what it is that they're looking to accomplish. And then I have to help dig into their past and find out, what have you tried? What was successful? What wasn't successful? How do you feel about this? Do you have any injuries? Do you have any allergies? I have a nutritionist that works with me full time. So we can handle almost every single case that comes to us because while I'm good at nutrition, she is an expert. Her name's Heather. I've been working with her for a couple of years now. She's been a nutritionist for 17 years. So we get our clients great results. I mean, like, I got my clients good results. When she came in, our clients' results skyrocketed up to here. So it's just based upon people knowing that others work with us. And when you're in health and fitness, your client is actually your business card. The transformation that they have is going to get you more money, more clients, because you want to help them get the results that they wanted. Because if you can't help that person that came to you, then people are going to look at it. Well, I thought you were working with Clif. Well, yeah, we worked together, but I didn't get the results I wanted. That is not the business that I'm running. I want to help change people's lives. I want to make sure that they're around for their families. So I do everything, go above and beyond to make sure that if they need help, we're never more than a phone call away.
All right.
So what are some common things that you see when you're first helping somebody who wants to make a change? I saw your post I think it was this morning, about like the coffee, like the habitual, and it like just reminding myself of just like how routines are just so ingrained in us, and making a shift is just so difficult. And then, once it's an established habit, you don't even think about it anymore. But what are some things you see and identify to kind of flip that switch that just seems so hard for everyone to do?
Well, it's actually a way of educating people. People don't know what they don't know. All you hear is, well, they said that we can't do this. They said that we can't do that. Who's they? No one's ever been able to answer me when I said, who's they? Who told you that this is the way that it's supposed to be? No one's ever been able to give me an answer. So let's take your coffee example. Now, these are the adults who go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or wherever you get your coffee from. Let's say you get one of those frozen frappuccinos. You're drinking about 600 to 700 calories and nothing but sugar first thing in the morning. And then you get a muffin, which is a glorified piece of cake with no icing. And now you've got 500-600 calories. So now you're at 1,200 calories for just breakfast. And you wonder why 73% of this country is overweight. because these are the acceptable habits that we do, that everyone does, that it's normal. If you eat, if you go through a drive-through and you're eating, let's say that you were on the subway and you've got, or the metro, and you've got like a burger and you're eating that from McDonald's, people aren't going to bat an eye. But if you were to pull out a Tupperware with some healthy food, people are going to look at you and be like, what's he eating? What are they doing? That's just so weird. Why would they do that?
Wow.
Right.
Society is just backwards. Everything that we should be going, we're going the opposite way.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking about food, and you mentioned like the whole 1,200 calories, even, I mean, as breakfast or whatnot. How important is that? And what is your experience with diet? Like, what do you recommend?
What do you mean by how important is what? Can you be a little bit more specific? Because here's the thing that when I talk about educating someone, I don't just go ahead and assume I know what you mean. I have to know where you're coming from. That way I can give you an answer. And the answer that you're always going to get from someone is, well, it depends, because everyone is different. So it depends on the structure of the question and what you're getting at. So if you can give me a little bit more context, I can help you.
In terms of performance, I guess. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, for performance, as in what?
Just like your normal daily routines, and just being a high performer.
Gotcha.
Somebody working with you, like what would you recommend as far as like being able? I mean, you're a pretty swole guy. You can't see me, but I can see you, and you're pretty jacked. I'm not jacked, however, and I'm like, what do I need to do to look like you?
Hire me. No, I'm kidding. But not really.
It's probably true.
Well, first of all, in order to find out what you need, we'd have to have a conversation, because I need to know your background. I need to know your history. I need to know, do you have any injuries? Do you have any health issues? All of those. And then from that, we'll do an interview, and then we can put together a program for you based upon you filling out the questionnaire that I have you fill out. If you have any blood work from your doctors, you send that over to us as well. This way, we're not guessing. So when people say, oh, I eat 1,200 calories per day. Okay, why? Did someone give you those numbers? Did someone calculate out that you should eat 1,200 calories? What are your protein? What's your carbs? What's your fats? People don't know that. They just take a number because they told them to, and they go eat off of it. Most of the time, these people are not getting the proper nutrition. So we build customized plans for each one of our clients. No two people are the same, so no two programs are going to be the same. You're not going to have the same meal plan. You wouldn't go on the same one as me. So why would I give you a cookie cutter plan that works for me if it's not going to work for you? It just doesn't work that way. And that's what happens when people download stuff off the internet. It's written as a generalized program for people to do, but it's not specific to each person. Look at it this way. You could have two identical twins, and you could put them on the same program. And by the time, same meal plan, and by the time that they're done working out, their bodies are going to be different, just because they are two different people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds like a lot like bio, like what you're talking about, like bio individuality of each person. Like they're gonna have a different plan. There's gonna be a different mindset coaching. There's gonna be different structures depending on their wants and where they're at now.
And here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up mindset. That is the most overlooked part of health and fitness. Losing weight, getting fit to become your best self is just as much, if not more, of a mental battle than it is a physical one. Your mind, your body can keep going. Your mind is going to tell you to quit. Your brain is actually built for self-preservation. Oh, this is hard. This is difficult. I don't want to do this. I'd rather sit on the couch. It's habits. It forms habits and patterns in everything that you do, and it just wants to continue doing that. So you have to break those patterns, and you have to break those habits. And most people don't know how to do that correctly. So they go, let's imagine that right here is someone that's eating twigs and berries, and someone over here is eating pizza, burgers, and drinking beer. What do they try to do when they go on a diet? They go from this extreme all the way over here to eating twigs and berries. It's not going to work. These people go all in for a week, 2 weeks and they can't eat the same thing every single day over and over and over again, it's not sustainable. And then they're like, oh man, I failed, I quit, I'm such a bad person, I couldn't do it. No, it's like trying to stick a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work. It wasn't designed for you. That's not the lifestyle that you live. So why are you trying to change your lifestyle to fit a program that you don't even like? So we build our program around our clients, so they actually have a chance of finishing the program, having success, taking the weight off, and then have the education to know how to keep it off. So no more yo-yo dieting.
Yeah, that's huge. Because that's what happens a lot, right? Even for people who get into, like you mentioned the word diet, like a diet, a short-term kind of fix, and then the problem is that it's not sustainable long-term, so you end up, gaining the weight back or, reversing and that kind of thing, which can be super detrimental mentally as much as it is physically, right?
Mm-hmm. And the reason why that doesn't work is because they try to do the same thing. Let's say you ate chicken, brown rice, and broccoli every single day. Have you ever seen the movie Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray, and he lost his mind when he did the same thing every day? That's what you're going to feel like at the end of a month eating the same food every day. You're not going to want it. It's just not sustainable. So then you also have people that just don't eat, or instead of, I'm not knocking drinking a protein shake, but what I'm saying is you should never replace a meal with a meal replacement shake. If you're going to have one of those, use it as a snack, not as a meal replacement, because the average meal is anywhere from 600 to 800 calories. And if you drink a shake, you're going to only have 200 calories to 300 calories. So, of course, if you replace 2 of your meals every single day with a shake, you're down 800, 1,000 calories. Of course, you're going to lose weight. Right. But if you're slashing your calories like that, you're going to cut too much. So what ends up happening? For every 20 pounds that you lose the wrong way, you're going to lose 12 pounds of body fat and 8 pounds of lean muscle. And then because it takes a long time to eat properly, work out, when you gain that weight back, when you stop drinking the shakes and go back to eating food, your body is just going to put on body fat. So it's not going to be able to build that 8 pounds of muscle back because it takes a long time. Anyone that's worked out, you tell me how long it takes to put on 8 pounds of muscle. It doesn't happen overnight or in a matter of weeks.
It's hard.
I got you too.
That's a super important point there, though, because that's something I learned the hard way. I did all these diets without real proper coaching, not knowing what I'm doing, like just eating a bunch of chicken and broccoli. Felt terrible. Definitely was in too much of a deficiency. Then I'm getting emaciated, and then only once I got a coach, got it dialed in, all the macros, everything, I actually was able to get the leanest I've ever been in my life without losing muscle mass. And the whole time on that journey down, I never felt bad once.
Yeah, that's huge.
Exactly. That's why it's so important for people why I tell people you don't have to count macros for the rest of your life, but you need a proper understanding. You need to know what portion sizes are. Most people want to be like, well, I don't like counting calories. It's too difficult. I don't want to count macros. I don't understand it. Okay, so you've been intuitively eating your entire life and you want to lose 50 pounds. Shows me that it's too hard for you to intuitively eat if you're overweight. You need to have help to figure out what a proper portion size is. If you can't look at a piece of fish and know the difference between a 5-ounce piece and a 4-ounce piece, or a 6-ounce baked potato and an 8-ounce baked potato, you're always going to end up eating a lot more. There's studies that have been shown that people who don't track what they eat can eat anywhere from an extra 500 to 1,500 calories a day just because they don't track everything. They forget little things. They don't add on their sauces, their condiments, little things like that. They don't track their sodas that they drink, and all of that stuff has calories. And they're like, well, I'm working out, I'm doing everything I should, but the one thing that you should be doing is getting that education that you're just not doing because it's too difficult.
Yeah.
Awesome. Clif, to kind of switch gears, who are some of your mentors that you kind of look up to, that you kind of follow, in your journey?
Well, I've had multiple coaches over the courses of my career. I've been through, I would say, my first coach was a lady by the name of Danny Johnson. And what was it, 15 years ago, I believe? when I worked with her. And when I was doing that, see, coaches need coaches as well. She was a business coach. So she gave us a homework assignment, and we were all on a group call, and she called on me, and for some reason I didn't do it. And she told me something that I'll never forget. And I gave her an excuse, and she was like, okay, well, let me tell you what I think of excuses. Excuses are nothing more than a well-planned lie that we tell ourselves to justify the inactivity that we don't do when we know we should do it.
Wow.
Boom.
Yeah, that was the nicest verbal lashing I had ever taken in my life, and I've never forgotten it.
Wow. Yeah.
So true.
I think you can all take something from that, right?
Absolutely.
Very much so. I've never forgotten it, and I use it all the time and tell people the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think it takes some of that, kind of like Justin, like you're saying, like it takes somebody to kind of bring that to light, like kind of tell you those kind of things and be real with you. Because sometimes your family members and stuff, they're gonna lie to you. They're gonna just tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
Whereas somebody that's
A new perspective, right?
Right.
Or a perspective of someone from the outside who's, like you said, Clif, you're getting to know like the person that you're going to be working with. So you're finding out a lot about them and why they are, in the place that they're at and where do they want to get to. And okay, let's come up with a plan. And then how do we get there?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this, I don't take on every single client I talk to. I am not going to work with somebody who's just not ready. You cannot force someone to make a decision and change their life if they're not ready. Think about it. How difficult is it for you to change your own habits? What is the likelihood that you're going to get to be able to talk somebody else into changing their habits? It's just not going to happen. Right. So unless they are 100% ready to do it, I mean, not 100%, but as long as they're willing to put effort into it and work towards it, I'll work with them. But if they're giving me, I don't know, I've got so much stuff I have to do. Work is really busy. I've got the kids that I have to run them around to different sporting events. I've got to do this. I got to do that. Okay, great. Are you still eating throughout the course of the day? Well, yeah. And you're obviously eating too much because you want to lose weight, right? Yeah. So if we tweak what you're eating, is that something that you would be willing to do? And they're like, well, you know what? When you're ready, let me know, because you're not ready. And all we're going to do is I'm going to call you, and then you're going to send me the voicemail. I'm going to text you. You're not going to respond. And it's going to feel like we're in a relationship that we broke up, and I'm that stalker ex that's going to be following you around all day long. And I don't need that headache in my life. I have enough people that I work with that want to work with me, as opposed to someone who's not really sure if they want to make the changes because they're not done with their partying. They're not done with their going out to happy hour 5 days a week because they're building business or whatever it's called. So not everybody's a good client.
I think we talk about it a lot too, like that a lot of the things that we're talking about are like, they're a choice, right? You have to make that decision and that commitment to yourself just as much as you are, like in your case, to your family and anyone else that it impacts as well. It's a decision that you make, and you make it every day. It's not something that you just do one time because it's ongoing, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Man, so much good value.
I know. I'm learning so much.
I'm motivated right now. I'm like, let's go. I always say this though on the podcast. It just gets me so hyped up to want to work out, to eat right, to just do the right things, because I mean, it's valuable information, right? And there's so many different things that we're coming across as far as like, just in your regular daily lifestyle on Facebook, in the media and whatnot, of just the way you should eat, the way you should exercise, the things that you should be doing. And I think it's not, you know what I mean? Like, this information is out there, but it's not really taken from the majority of the public. And I think that's why we're in the situations that we're in, where it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think some high astronomical number of people with diabetes and, just people not eating right. So
and like society's starting to celebrate that.
Right.
Strange.
Yeah. And I think part of it as well is the excuses, right? People will make excuses for what you're putting in your mouth. Like, like it's simple when you think about it. And when you hear it from a guy like Clif, you know what I mean? Who's literally laying it all out there. It's this simple to just make a choice. You got to make it though.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yes.
True that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it all comes back to that mindset piece. It really does.
Yep.
And it's like, so back to that coffee analogy. I mean, that's, for me, it's the first thing every morning. I'm just programmed. Wake up, I have my routine, go hit the Keurig. Like, I'm going to have that coffee. It's like part of my waking up process. And I'm like, and thinking to myself, like, oh, could I break that? I could, but
Let me ask you this. Why do you drink coffee?
man, I don't know. I mean, it wakes me up. I like the caffeine. I do it like to your other example, like I'm not putting anything in it. I'm either drinking it black or the very, almond creamer, no sugar, like low fat, like whatever quality organic source. But I'm being conscious about how I do it. But it's still something that I literally have to do every morning. I don't even think about it.
It's because you programmed yourself to do that. You're 95% of everything we do is run through our subconscious. Have you ever been driving and you were just like spacing off and all of a sudden you pulled in your driveway and you're like, how did I make it here?
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You're on autopilot because you have built, remember those patterns that I was telling you about that your brain has created for you? That's a pattern. Wake up in the morning, get coffee. Because at some point someone told you that you need to drink coffee to wake up in the morning and you're like, that's it. I'm going to drink coffee every morning. But here's what most people don't understand. If you drink coffee, coffee is a stimulant. The stimulant, what it does is it helps you to metabolize your food faster so that your body can get the nutrients and the energy out of your proteins, carbs, and fats and give you energy. Now, for a lot of people have you ever seen someone drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee and they're like still dead tired? They haven't eaten anything. There's no energy like that in coffee because unless they put sugar in it, and then you're getting the energy from the sugar and you're getting that sugar high, and then it'll just drop you back down. That's why you have another cup of coffee. So when people say, oh, I only have coffee for breakfast and it gets me through, it's what you're putting in the coffee that gives you the energy. It's not the coffee itself.
Interesting.
That's huge.
I didn't know that.
And I think a lot of times too, like it's the caffeine, right? So some of it's chemical, right? So I used to drink a lot of soda, right? And before I gave up, like before I even started drinking coffee, I was drinking a lot of soda. It was like soda. Now I can kind of like, because I understand the whole, chemical balance of it, like I try to do it every so often and I'll try to take myself off of it. But I feel like you just kind of replace things, right? So you go from a bad habit and you try to make a good habit, but then essentially it's all has to be in moderation, right? Like you can have good things and overdo it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
And that's when we call it sedating your life. Think of it this way. If you've got issues that are going on, let's say that your relationship isn't working very well, or you're fighting with your kids, or instead of dealing with that, doing something that's real well, you start exercising an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours every day so you don't have to deal with it. Or you start working overtime so you don't have to deal with it. See, we sedate our lives with different things. It doesn't just have to be drugs, alcohol, or anything like that. You can be with work. It can be with working out. It can be anything that's going to take you away from being present and causing you to deal with the issues in your life, because most people would rather not because it's difficult. So what do? They pack it down. They pack it down and they pack it down more, and then they never get past the sticking point. So everyone tries to either go over their issues, around it, or underneath it. And the only way that you're going to actually finish the issues, deal with it, is going straight into it and acknowledging it, accepting it, and then making peace with it and then moving on. But most people don't want to do that because that's difficult, because it requires looking inside. And when you look inside, you're going to see things that you don't want to see. And that's why most people don't do it.
Wow.
Do you think that's the biggest turning point, or what you help people with, is to basically take care of that and then it takes care of the other things?
Once you get yourself right and you understand that you are not only your biggest problem, but you're also your biggest solution, if you take responsibility for those problems and actually address them, then you can get to anywhere that you want to be. But until then, there's always going to be some form of you're lying to yourself about a situation. So now you don't believe in yourself. because you know that you're not telling the truth. And if you don't keep a commitment to yourself, that means that you're not going to be able to build your self-esteem, and you're not going to be able to build your self-confidence, because each one of those broken lies, broken promises, is you telling yourself that you're not worth it.
Wow. Wow.
That's it.
That's deep stuff. Wow.
It's powerful.
Yeah, I think everyone in some sense can relate to, you know, a little bit of the stuff that you're talking about. Because I think, I mean, like you said, it's hard. We all, you know, go through it, and everyone has like their own, you know, things that they're dealing with. So I think that it's super important, like, to talk about it just in general. And then, like you said, to have someone there who can help you work through those things is super powerful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See, everyone's afraid. Everyone wants to see the light. Everyone wants to be the bright source. But in order to be able to find the light, you have to first go into the darkness. And then to go into the darkness, you have to be able to deal with it. And then to find the light, you have to find the cracks in the darkness that you can let the light in, because that's where the healing is. Those are the issues that you're going to need to deal with the most. And a great way of finding out what those are is 9 times out of 10, if you're talking to somebody and they're really irritating you and there's something and you're like, I don't know why I don't get along with that person, they are an outward reflection of what you are hiding inside of you. That's why it's striking the wrong term, why it's making you feel that way.
Huge.
Wow.
Because I think I deal with that a lot too. You know what I mean? Like, you see something, or, you know, having been through transformation or starting to eat right or something like that, you see other people and you get upset. And it's like, it's just an outward reflection, like you said, of yourself, things you're dealing with. You see in others. I mean, I think that's why I dropped the bomb. It's huge.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this conversation has been eye-opening for me. I hope that it is for you guys as well, and, you know, for our entire customer base. And clearly, Clif, we can see that you're a mountain of knowledge. You have so much knowledge to give, and that anyone would be lucky to, you know, partner and work with you. So if you do have any questions or you'd like to work with Clif, you can definitely check him out on Facebook. And then the website is fitfun40.com.
Yeah, it's fitfun40, FITFU1, and then it's the 40, and that's going to take you into our Facebook group. When you join the Facebook group, then you're going to see more information about myself and other people that are in there. And all we do is talk about mindset, accountability, emotional intelligence, making sure that you're doing the things that you know you should be, the masculine, feminine dynamic. What else did we talk about in there? We talk about different personality types. The conversations are all over the place, but there's a reason for each one of them, because every person that you talk to is not going to be in the same place in life. So you have the conversations, and then someone can watch a video, and then later on they can see it when it's live video, but watch it later on as they've progressed in their changing and be like, this didn't mean something to me before, but it means something now because I'm in a different place. So that's the same thing as why people say, well, how can you watch a movie again? How can you read the same book over and over again? Because as you continuously grow, you progress, and then the things that were important to you at that point are not important to you anymore because you've moved past that, and then you pick up something else from the book that you missed the first time through.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I've noticed that a couple of times. You know what I mean? Like reading the same book over, or going to the same sort of conference or something like that. Like going,
Or like I said, watching a movie, and the first time you watch it, maybe you don't see those little.
but you pick certain things up.
Yeah,
after
and then the
fact.
second time you see it, you know, you realize, oh, that's what that was.
I think the stats, you only get 62% retention after 6 exposures. So if you read a book 6 times, you'll only internalize 62% of it, something like that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that stat, but I know it takes a while to go through it. Mm-hmm. And every time you go through it, you're going to pick up something new from it. That's why so many people say read How to Win Friends and Influence People every year.
Yep. It's a
Wow.
great book. We did post the link in the comments, so for anybody that's watching, we do appreciate it. Go ahead. You can check Clif out. Before we let you go, Clif, I got to know one thing. So being an ex-bartender, we have a couple bartenders in the room as well. What was your favorite cocktail or drink to make when you were bartending?
Draft beer.
Yeah. With a head or no head?
Oh, it always had to have a little bit of head on it like that. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to ask me what was my favorite to drink when I was drinking.
What was it? Yeah, we got to know now.
I would drink shots of tequila and vodka and Red Bulls. I was a wide awake drunk,
Wow.
full of energy.
That's the depressant and the stimulant all in one right there.
It's got to be good for you.
yeah, right.
Yeah, like I said, I needed to become healthier. That was not a good idea. But
Right.
hindsight's always 2020, and
Yep.
we are where we are currently because we've learned from the lessons and the mistakes of our past. So
So true.
That's another bomb.
It's another
Is it the record
one
bomb
of
drop
those things you need
episode?
to remember.
Might be.
Most bombs dropped on podcasts ever. Thanks. But we appreciate you taking your time. We know you're super busy to join us. We would love to have you back another time. And yeah, just have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you. And with Justin, you can go ahead and send us off.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is one thing, common theme. Every good coach that I meet and talk to, they have a coach. So if you're one of those people who thinks you don't need a coach, you're wrong. So look into it. We can all get better. And the people who are progressing and getting better know that better than everyone. That's why every coach has a coach.
Yep.
So hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week. And as always, stay healthy with Heartland.